Hey, yo, I'm live on the internet. I don't think anybody will ever see this. Um, I'm over here trying to use StreamYard, and I hope nobody comes in here, but it's like I can't use it, right? I suppose, and I'll just have to think about my options. Um, but maybe you just want to stare at me while I talk about stuff, and I could do that, but of course I would have to like write some notes down and get prepared for stuff like that. And I guess I'll do that. I don't really have no choice. But a few days ago, I had paid money, and Lord knows, I pay money all freaking day long, right? So, so I took some of that money that I was going to pay to somebody else and paid it to StreamYard. Only so I could rumble here on YouTube. Forget YouTube; it really doesn't matter. But I wanted to live stream actually on Rumble, and then hopefully just have like a little space there on Rumble where I can do whatever I want. Problem is though, I'm on StreamYard and I'm even seeing tutorials and this and that, perhaps because I'm whack and lame and I'm just on like oh my god, my trademarks in here. Hey man, what are you up to? I saw some of your recent updates, stuff like that. It's all very quite suspicious. All right. I'll give you that, like the helipad and stuff like that. Oh, it just so happens they got to upgrade the helipad. So very quite suspicious. Suspicious over here too. A lot of weird, wild, weird stuff going on. So I just wanted to let you know, catching up with the madness of the world. I don't know if we're gonna catch up or be able to keep up. But certainly a lot of madness. What are you doing? What is my trademark doing over there? Markrovia and stuff. I'm thankful for you popping in and stuff. I'm sure you're probably up to all sort of shenanigans. All right, so to pop in for any moment of time is pretty awesome. I was like, I don't deserve for anybody to pop in here. You understand? I don't deserve it. All right. I just put Merp as the title of this video. Why? Because I didn't want to type out all sort of other words. Oh, this and that. And the broadcast gonna go terribly wrong anyways. Like just on the technical aspect, I don't know how to use StreamYard to like show to maybe like show you an article or to show you a picture or this and that. It's like I can't do any of that. I have no idea. Matrix Mark says he's in the city visiting his brother. I didn't even know you had a brother. All right, so visiting my brother and looking at the news. You are better than the news. All right. Well, that's not really saying much, is it? The news is ran by psychopaths, and you already know it. I don't know what news you're watching, although it could be like a Sky News or whatever. It's that good news that y'all got over there and stuff. It could be. I don't know what kind of news you're watching, but I'm sure it's all sort of chaos and lawlessness abounding or something like that. We might talk about it, I suppose, while I'm here and stuff. And Matrix Mark's up in the building. It's damn legend, and everybody knows it. All right, so I don't know how to. He says I'm better than the news, but I don't know what I don't know if that's correct because I'm just over here not saying very much. I was doing some playing around, and that's how I got here. And technically, I did want to talk about a couple of things. I don't know what Matrix Mark might want to hear about, or even how much time he has right now. But technically, I did want to talk about a couple of things, and I did actually talk about them on Rumble last night, in which I had a terrible failure there too, man, because I can't. I want to be able to show people articles, and I want to be able to do this and that. That way they can follow along, and that way I can like not forget what the hell I was talking about. How that goes. But it was a couple of things that I brought up yesterday on the Rumble. I don't know if I've seen Major Mark on the Rumble yet. I don't know if I've seen him out there, but I did. I definitely seen Bart Fine over there on the Rumble. There's a couple of things I was talking about. Number one was about daughters. To my knowledge, Major Mark doesn't have a daughter, or maybe that's. I didn't know he had a brother. Right? I don't. I'll go show you what I know. But one thing that I talked about on a stream yesterday was kind of like father daughter relationship. It was in regards to that because actually it's very deep, and I feel like I have some insight that I could like give to people because it's all very deep. It's nothing like yeah, you're not going to accidentally raise a well-rounded daughter, right? It's not going to happen, right? Or a daughter who you're not going to accidentally raise a daughter who isn't a complete neurotic basket case. You're not going to accidentally do that, right? And it got caught on my head because I was hearing some. The reason it got caught on my head, I heard a couple of friends of mine talking about young girls and like, oh, having a daughter, or if they had a daughter, oh, they would do this, oh, they would do that, oh, they would act like this and that, big and tough guys. And they are actually big, tough guys, but it's very naive what they were saying. That was the problem. It's very naive, and it's actually very normal for people to say what they were saying in regards to young girls, as far as raising them, as far as quote protecting them from the world and stuff. It's kind of remarkable, but actually, I would have to get into the meat and potatoes of that topic for you to even understand what the hell. What am I getting at? What are you talking about? Father-daughter relationships. And then also what I was talking about last night on the Rumble. I only talked about it like real briefly because I was busy like fumbling around with technicals and stuff like that. I was talking about the end. Now, Maitre Mark, as far as I know, I think he's very well aware that we're nearing some sort of end, and an end could very well mean like a beginning as well. So the beginning is something new, but the end for sure of what it is that we've known. And the thing is, yeah, I've been talking about it for years now, and Maitre Mark's been out there putting out the warning for people, for whoever will listen. Right. So it's not nothing really new, but however, I just gotta say for people, it's not pessimistic, and I'm not all super depressed, and I'm not like all black pilled or anything, but the end, yeah, it's the end. All right. There's no, it's like 100%, thousand million billion percent positive. I would love to think that there's a way to kind of finagle our way and get up out of this mess we got ourselves into. I couldn't imagine any sort of scenario in which we could avoid what it is that we got coming to us. It's god awful. It's terrible. And even over here, like it's not like all sort of chaos abounding. Like it's calm right here. It's peaceful. There's nothing crazy going on right here. However, it's not going to remain like that. Maitre Mark says, I see these girls walking about and they're showing their heavily tattooed asses in public. Damn, dude, over there, that's shit's going down over there, buddy. They're showing their heavily tattooed asses in public. They sadly are people's daughters, for sure. They're all people's daughters. I don't know, like, how they got heavily tattooed asses running around, maybe having a parade over there. I wish them the best, but Major Mike says the end has already started for sure. We are balls deep in the end. Like that's the thing about it. We're not even at the beginning of the end, right? Like we're we're all up into the end, right? But if you were to say this to even the guys who I know, who I even have respect for, if you were to even say it, they would say lots of times, "Oh man," they're like, "Oh man, you're maybe losing it. You're maybe like, you're freaking out. Like, maybe you're being pessimistic. Why don't you be more positive?" It's wild to think that I am literally one of the most positive people who I know. I'm not saying that like to brag on myself. Like, many people tell me that all the time. Like, that's what I'm known for. At one of my jobs, they call me Happy. They say my nickname is Happy. Because I wake up and basically, yeah, I have this stupid grin on my face, but furthermore, I'm not exactly sad. I'm not exactly depressed like a lot of people run around. All right, so it's not about pessimism. But, like, for example, and there's thousands of things probably, all right? We don't have time. I don't have the memory to remember all this stuff. But, like, for example, and it's a great example, you know about United States of America and the whole southern border, San Antonio. We're not far from it. So the southern border, all this calamity and stuff. I don't know how to put this. Like, the situation is absolutely dire. Behind the scenes, like, and a lot of people don't really realize that. All right, in San Antonio, all this illegal immigration, that's kind of a thing that we've lived with for since I can remember. Thing is, typically it's Mexicans. Typically it's Mexicans just coming in. I got two people up in the building. Can't hardly believe it. All right, but the end for sure. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. All right, so we got a situation in which untold amounts of people from whatever country, from every country, it don't matter. The border's open, so they're coming in every which way. I've been concerned about it for quite some time, but now it seems like the whole rest of the nation is also becoming very concerned. Like, you got people, say in New York City, who are raising a whole big fuss because maybe they knew about illegal immigrants, but they didn't have illegal immigrants to this proportion. They didn't have illegal immigrants every which way they look around, but now that they do, they're like, "Hey, we don't like all this here. We don't like this." So people are getting all upset. Right? They should get upset. It's really, really bad. But okay, so many people are upset that it's like kind of obvious now. It's like one of the two of the biggest topics in regards to the election, right? It's this illegals everywhere. Now there's the idea. And I don't know people's hearts. I don't know people's intents. Sometimes there's things that people say that people don't do, right? But if we're going to take everything on face value, Donald Trump's out there and he's talking about, "Oh man, you get me in the office, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round up all these damn illegals," right? And he didn't say damn illegals, but I'm over here. I'm not saying the people and damn the people. I'm saying it's illegal what y'all are doing. And certainly most of y'all got tricked into doing something illegal. However, it's still illegal. Even if you did get tricked, we're all getting tricked, right? So it seems on face value that if Donald Trump got onto office, that he would immediately start rounding up these people. Not only do you round up these people, but even more effectively, you stop giving them thousands of dollars in debit cards. You stop housing them in fancy hotels for months and years at a time. Like that's actually, if you wanted to stop it, stop doing all that. But then at the same time, go ahead and round them up too as well. I don't got no problem with that. In fact, that sounds awesome. I can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. But however, let's not forget, and some people they debate to this day whether or not Donald Trump's in on everything and he's working with everybody. I don't know. I can't say. But taking everything on face value, I'd have to say they hate Donald Trump. They're not going to let him in, especially because he wants to close the border. They want open borders. That's what they got. Nature Mark says Trump is going to build a wall last time. Is he really a free man or a Freemason? See, that's the debate. And I'm not going to pretend like I know the answer for sure. That's why I got to say, on face value, from what people are openly saying, from what Donald Trump has said himself, allegedly he would do all this, and he would round up all the illegal immigrants. What I got to say is that he would have to. I mean, it's a situation where you have to. There's no getting around it. We got so many illegal immigrants everywhere. And like, for example, here in San Antonio, I'm thinking I'm seeing Mexicans. I'm not seeing Mexicans. No. I thought they were Mexican. No, they're not Mexicans. They're Venezuelan for the most part. They're Colombians and everywhere else. It's like, this isn't what I'm used to at all. All right. And the reason why I'm not used to it is because this is like unprecedented. All right. And a lot of people know, like, for example, here for many years, you would have people illegally crossing the border and they would get classified as either Mexicans, and this is like born in East LA type stuff, like they're either classified as Mexicans or they were classified as OTM. All right, it doesn't take a genius to figure out the other category is other than Mexicans, meaning it's overwhelmingly Mexicans. It's always been that way. All right, now it's not that way. Not at all. It's unprecedented. All these people from all these other countries, they need to be removed. These people, they're getting all sort of jobs. Like, for example, one of the jobs I'm working at, Venezuelans. There's Venezuelans there. It's like, how do they get the job? Well, they got some court case probably like 8 years from now. In the meantime, they got their right to work. And they'll take your job or they'll take any job they can get, because I'm not ragging on these people. These people desperate. These people living in a brand new country that they only realized that they wanted to come to recently. They're desperate. When they get here, they're under somebody's thumb. That's how that works. Trump was going to build a wall, and we already read that. Major Mark said he didn't even arrest Crooked Hillary. See, that's the thing, and I can't, and I'm not going to like argue with anybody because these are valid points. All these things. He didn't lock up Hillary, or he didn't this and that. And me not being the expert, I can say that, well, I could see the debating points on both sides. Maybe you could say, oh, he didn't go after Hillary because he had bigger fish to fry. You could say, not only that, like, and if you're the president, you might want to do this, that, and the third, but you don't have time to do everything. That's what would be debated. They would say, well, there's things that were more important than going after Hillary. And I would say that if they said, oh, going after Hillary, see, that's a problem, because that's like one head of the Hydra. There's like a million billion Hillary Clintons out there. I don't want to go that far. Like, Hillary Clinton is powerful, but there's definitely many more Hillary Clintons out there. All right, so you go after one Hillary Clinton, and that's not gonna finalize the matter. You're gonna have to go after more Hillary Clintons, obviously. Is he wanting to do that? Is he ready to do that this time because he didn't do it last time, Donald Trump? Is he a Freemason? I don't know. I don't know. It's all wild. But on face value, from what I'm seeing, it's like we could get the okey doke. they could really be bamboozling us into wanting Trump. And that would be on the other side. Oh, Trump, he didn't do this and that. Oh, it's convenient the things that Trump didn't do and all this complying that Trump did do in regards to the COVID. Oh, isn't it interesting? But here's the thing, not knowing which way is what, me personally, I still feel strongly in saying that they ain't gonna let that man in president. They ain't gonna not. It's not gonna happen. Point blank. Period. All right, and they will pull out each and all the stops. It's like, okay, they can. That's the thing about it. It could be like a little trick in which, oh, we're tricked into wanting Donald Trump. It could be that, but from what I'm seeing and what I've been seeing for years, a lot of this evidence points that these people hate Donald Trump and these people are mentally ill. Like you could say, okay, maybe the rich elite, maybe they would like Trump and they secretly like Trump, but they're trying to fool us into not liking Trump. Okay, like some of that sounds reasonable, but I'll tell you what, the poor people down here on my level who dislike Trump are mentally ill. They have lost their ever loving minds. So, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, a lot of these rich elites, they might actually have the mental illness that I'm seeing from these poor people. These poor people on my level who hate Donald Trump, they don't have no benefit to hating Donald Trump. They're mentally ill and they're lost it. That's what I'm thinking. I can't say for sure. All right. But I think 1,000,000% it's not even going to happen. He's not going to get into the presidency. You know, what's interesting, as you're probably well aware, is that Donald Trump is more popular here in 2024 than he's more popular than in 2020. And in 2020, we don't have the scientific proof, but he was more popular than he was in 2016 when he won the presidency. And he did win it, whether or not it's like people did vote for him. And he's more. So what I'm trying to say is that it's clearly obvious to anybody and everybody who's even paying attention. See, like half of American adults don't even know who the hell's running for president. All right. If you ask half of, maybe a third of American adults, they don't know who Nikki Haley is. All right. And I can't even blame them. Nikki Haley's so retarded and boring that why would you expect anyone to know who she is? It's amazing. So it's like all face value what I'm saying here, because somebody could be all up to trickery. All sort of people could be up to trickery. But on face value, they ain't gonna let Donald Trump in. So if he was there to trick us, their trick's not gonna work if they don't let him in the presidency. It's not gonna work. The only way their trick would work is that if they did let him in the presidency and he started doing these things. But however, many people have caught the mental illness, all right, here on a low level. And if and when Donald Trump did get presidency, they'll totally freaking lose it. All right. I wanted to bring that up, like the Venezuelans who I'm seeing all over the place. Our economy is bad, and that's by design and for a reason. It's fixing to go through a crash, and everybody knows it. And nobody is like denying that, to include Donald Trump. So it is going to go through a crash, and it's going to go through a crash with all sort of immigrants, if you call them that, of all sort of countries, to include sleeper cells from China and whatever Middle East country. They all got sleeper cells in America. The border is wide freaking open. The Chinese, the male, the adult military age Chinese men who are coming over the border, and it's a lot of them. It's going to be like the worst part of it, right? So I bring all that up, and there's more they can bring up, and we could talk about it for hours and hours. But I just wanted to say that to say, I guarantee it. There's no maybe, perhaps if we do this, perhaps if we do that, we'll get out of it. We're not getting out of it. Long story short, many Americans going to want one thing, but then the government's going to do whatever they can to make sure there are no elections, or there's not an election, or they can bamboozle us real hard. All right. Um, that's not gonna okay. So I'm gonna leave it there. It's not gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's setting us up for all sort of calamity. How are we going to get out of it? This and that. Let's imagine all the patriots of America got together and said, "Man, shit's really gotten so bad, and let's get together and stop this," or something. And came together. Gotta save America. We gotta, as conservatives, America's dying, and we gotta save it for our children, for the youth, for the future. Okay. I totally respect it, and I'm on that team. I wish to work with those people who think like that, for sure. But okay. Furthermore, to the point, who are you saving? Who are you saving? And I'm not trying to like be too judgmental, but say if you were to save America, over half the people who you're saving are useless. Either hate America or have nothing to contribute to America. So, in a sense, I wanted to say it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just little old me, but I imagine God. It's like, okay, what if you're God and you're orchestrating this magical, huge orchestration of this world? Okay. I can't imagine a scenario in which a large minority of American people still have enough morals to be able to fight against the government that's already taken them so far down the rabbit hole that well over 50% of every dollar they make goes right back to the government, not even to keep the government going, but in order to keep you a damn slave, right? So it's like, you're gonna save the country. Let's save the country, and half of Gen Z, if you will, we know full well they cannot work an 8-hour workday without freaking out. Save what? It's like it doesn't make sense. If we're going on the trajectory we're going on, it's going to get a lot worse, obviously. And my thinking is that the whole point of it is that it does get all worse. It gets super bad, super terrible worse. And what that's going to do is burn off all the fat, if you will, on earth. And it's like, I'm not cheering for it. I'm not saying, oh, this is the thing I think should happen. It's like, I think that's what God's getting at, is that we're not strong enough in our minds and in our spirits. If a people goes away from God, if they go a slightly off direction, they're going to eventually be destroyed. It's just how it is. Like I was said in the Bible, it's only a matter of time. You will be destroyed. And so that's what we're looking at. All right. So me personally, I guess I'm getting prepared. Like, a lot of people get as prepared as you can. You can't just know all what's going to happen and be fully prepared for the apocalypse, right? For the end of days. So I want to thank Maitre Mark for coming out. I don't want to spend too long, I suppose, because I'm going to wind up talking about these sort of things later as well. But just in case there's somebody out there and they're checking out this video, what are we 29 minutes in? I don't want to make it too long, but I did mention this whole father-daughter thing. And I think Matrix Mark was talking about, sadly, people's daughters are roaming around with their tattooed asses all over the place. Okay. I just want to give you an example, and I want you to know that it's normal and that I've heard of it before a lots of times. You probably heard of it. And the reason I bring it up is not to be nitpicking necessarily, and it doesn't matter. What I think doesn't matter. I'm just putting it out there, and if someone hears it and someone takes something away from it, it's just only a suggestion of mine, right? But I'll give you an example. And imagine in the days we live in which it's pornography everywhere, dude. It's just everywhere, and it's the easiest thing to get access to. All right. So a lot of people, like, I'll give you an example, and you probably heard something similar in which say, "Oh, my daughter," or this, or like my niece, or my granddaughter, or whatever, a small young girl. Oh, she's not gonna date anybody until she's graduated college or whatever. Like they'll say, these boys, they better not come around to my house because I'm gonna beat some boys' asses. I'm gonna fucking kill them and stuff. And it's so like people get real tough, right? They start saying violent and vulgar rhetoric, to be honest, about young men, I guess. They're like, I'll fucking kill him and bury him in my yard if he even comes close to my daughter and stuff. And they'll be like, oh, like she's not gonna date until after it's like after she's finished college and she's got this and that going for her, she's not even gonna look at boys. And okay, so they get off to talking like this. Okay. What I gotta explain is like, okay, here's what I'm suggesting. And I'm not trying to call people out or whatever. What it is, you're trying to sound tough. And that's all it is. It's like, I want to sound big, bad, and tough. Little boys coming around, I'm gonna fucking kick their asses and stuff. They better not come around and she ain't never dating nobody and stuff. So that whole vibe it's all as time itself. All right. It's always been around. They got that vibe. Shout out to the person who's ever up in the building. We're talking about the father daughter thing and how a lot of guys they'll get super protective and they'll start acting big and tough. And I'm not trying to call you out and say, oh, you're not big and tough. What I'm saying is like that you're bullshitting, and actually that vibe is going to cause chaos and destruction, just how it has all throughout time. All throughout time. You might think you're all big and tough and you're doing something by saying, "Oh, I'm gonna make sure this and that. They better not come around my daughter and stuff, or my niece, or my whatever it is." What you're doing is being naive. And the thing is, I'm just suggesting it for people to kind of like roll it around in their head. Is say if you have a daughter and this is where your mind is at. Say like I've heard Joe Biden before, and Joe Biden talking about his young female relatives saying, "Oh, she better not date anybody till she's 30." All right. So Joe Biden's a pervert, obviously, and he wants to, you know, diddle children, right? But you'll hear other grown men using this rhetoric. Oh, she's not gonna date till she's 30. Can you, like, for example, can you imagine that? If you said, "Oh, my daughter's not gonna date till she's 30," there's been countless men all throughout time said exactly that. All right. I know mathematically that what you're saying that you would have happen is probably going to ruin your daughter's life. I don't know if you're thinking about this because, I mean, for example, women these days, and you hear it all the time, they don't even have children until 30, or they don't even try to. They're not even trying to get married until about 30. And then it's a race against time to see how many kids they can maybe possibly have after 30. What I want to suggest, and people don't have to listen to me, is that there's a happy medium All right. For example, like when you think about Western marriage, there's all sort of different types of people who are married in different ways here in the West. But if you think about Western marriage, you think about the stereotypical stuff. Oh, I found this and that, and we fell in love. It was love at first sight, and we got married and stuff, and it was wild, and it was crazy, and it was American, stuff like that, right? Okay. Oh, we eloped, and our parents didn't want us to do this and that, but we loved each other so much, and we had to elope and stuff, right? That's the West. And then in the East, from what I understand, I'm sure there's plenty of different styles of marriage. But when you think about the East, a lot of people think of either arranged marriages or some sort of very formal style of marriage, especially you're thinking about the Middle East or something, or perhaps Asia and stuff. um, I'm not the guy, I'm not the expert to tell everybody what to do, but what I'm thinking in my head is that it's like a happy medium between both, sort of, you know, that I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. In which, yeah, there should be attraction for each of these parties who are getting married, yes, for sure. But it should also make sense, right? It's kind of a side note, but the reason I brought it up is because, like, okay, I'm over here, and maybe I'm the bad guy. All right, people could look at me and say, "Oh, you don't get to see your daughter. You haven't seen your daughter in like 10 years. You're a bad person. You're a piece of scum. You're a slime ball. Why would I ever listen to you about this and that about parenting? You're the worst of the worst." People would say about me, probably. I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah. There's nothing I could do to convince you otherwise, but I'm saying if someone was listening to me, I think I got an insight on it. That's right. It's like as I was mentioning before, uh, men are very naive. These guys out here talking and saying, "Oh, I'm big and tough." You're very naive, especially if you have a daughter. You want to supposedly, from what you're saying, you want to sabotage your daughter, and you want to take most of her fertile years and throw them in the garbage. Why? Because I don't know why. I don't know why. Because you're protective. I don't know. My mind always goes back to there's a scene. I don't know who's up in the room right now, but if they've ever seen a movie called Scarface, and I never seen the original Scarface, and I kind of would like to now that I think about it, but I'm talking about the Scarface with Al Pacino and the Hispanic Miami style news. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you've seen Scarface, one of the best movies ever, probably cinematically, definitely behind Gone with the Wind because I don't know what competes with Gone with the Wind. But all right, Scarface at the end of Scarface, for people who's familiar with it, um, Al Pacino's character Scarface, he has a younger sister in which he's looking after the entire time, and yeah, she's meddling around with like riffraff, dude, like throughout the movie and stuff, and he's Al Pacino's always trying to put the kibosh on it. He doesn't want anybody going after his sister. And then towards the end, at a certain point, Al Pacino's partner, who's a younger guy, by the way, his partner that takes a liking to Al Pacino's younger sister, and they start doing their thing a little bit behind the scenes, and they're really into each other, right? And they know Al Pacino is going to have a hard time with it, but so they're trying to think about how to like break it to him and stuff, but they're really, really into each other. That's what they come to find out. So at a certain point, and I don't remember too good. I haven't seen it lately, but Al Pacino's sister, right before Al Pacino gets like murdered by all sort of like gang members, Al Pacino's sister, and they have like this big gunfight. Al Pacino's sister comes in and she tells him about like that her and I forget what his name is, that they have a thing going on. And more or less Al Pacino, he's like, he more or less says, and this guy ain't good for you. He's below you. He's not good enough for you. Stuff like that. And as you could tell, I don't know verbatim, but basically what happens is Al Pacino's sister then like disrobes herself. She's bucky-bald naked, and she says something to Tony. His name was Tony, and she says like, "Why don't you fuck me, Tony? Why don't you fuck me then?" And like when she says that, it's obviously very jarring and shocking for the viewer. You're like, you're like, what the hell is happening here? She's like, what, what? And then you start to get to understand what she's getting at. She's very emotional. She's being stymied by her brother this whole time, and so in her head, she can't figure out why that is. For the life of her, she can't figure out why that is. And it seems as though, from what she's saying, she's like implying that Al Pacino actually wants his own sister romantically all for himself, even though that they haven't done any of that. It's just he keeps sabotaging her in such a way that she takes it as a perverted action on his part. And that's personally always what I think about. And some people might think I'm reading into it too much, but that's what I think about. It's like, okay, you're a grown man and stuff. You do want to sabotage your daughter's life because, her most fertile years are going to be totally squandered. Why? Because you're a big, bad, tough man. Doesn't make any sense. And then, like, if you were to try to execute and enact what you're talking about, most times what's going to happen from what I've seen, and I've seen it, it's your daughter, your sweet little daughter. You're protecting her and this and that. She can't wait to run around just as soon as, like, you know what I'm saying? As soon as you're not watching this stuff, she's can't wait to do all the stuff that you're hoping your little girl don't want to do. She's gonna do it. You're making her do it. It is perverted. But like people, if I were to say that in like normal public, they wouldn't have not the slightest clue what I'm talking about. They would say, "No, this father, he's the father of the year. He's so protective of his little girl that he's willing to f up her life because he's big, bad, and tough." All right, that's if he did it exactly how he'd want to, he's gonna f up her life because she may or may not even have children. All right. And especially if she's got the potion all pumped in her, she ain't have no children. All right. That's if you execute it exactly how you wanted to. What's more likely going to happen is your little daughter is going to run around. She's gonna be a total all over the place type of a freak. All right. So congratulations. Like you're a big bad tough man, and now you got one of these two conclusions to deal with. And me being the father of a daughter, and I also have many beautiful nieces and stuff who are growing like weeds, going real fast. Um, I couldn't imagine like having that mindset that the great majority of fathers out there have that mindset of I'm gonna f up my daughter's life if I can help it at all. If not, she's gonna run around all around town because because of my actions. Some people might ask, well, what am I getting at? I'm like pointing out this, and it's going to lead to chaos and just senselessness. All right, yeah, I would assume it is, and we are talking about an environment in which the country in which you're living in is disintegrating. It's gonna happen, and you've never seen that before. That's going to be unprecedented. Your lifestyle is going to change in a ways that you couldn't possibly ever predict, and it's guaranteed it's going to happen. It does kind of sound depressing. Before I get up out of here, and Lord knows we're not promised tomorrow, and this and that. I live for today. I live for right now. For some reason, like right now, I very badly want to be like on camera and talking to whoever it is who's listening to me right now. I'm trying to figure out how to get the technicals. I still don't know. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to call somebody or something. I think I might have an idea, but I really don't have an idea on how to like post up articles and we could read through them and pictures and videos and this and just to share with each other. Just to share with each other. I don't know if I'll be able to like if we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen in the future, right? So hypothetically, I can say I don't know if I'm ever gonna see my daughter again. Who's to say? I could die right now. She could die right now, and then we just not see each other. That is possible. It's very possible. I have no idea. All right, but what I do want to say is hypothetically in my mind, instead of trying to go around and act and be this and oh, I'm a tough guy. I'm not gonna let anybody like this and that with my daughter. Instead of telling her what she shouldn't do, I don't want to sound like, oh, I think I'm smart. I would tell her what she should do. That's what I would do. If it's my daughter and say like my daughter's she's turning about 14 right now. All right, here in like a month, couple of months. 14 years old. It's pretty grown. All right. It's like 4 years away from being 18 years old. So me personally, I wouldn't tell my if she was like looking to me for advice, which a lot of people do, they look to their fathers for advice. I wouldn't tell her what she shouldn't do, like, oh, you can't go out dating. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't see that boy. Oh, is that boy looking at you? You can't do that. I can't do that. You haven't graduated college yet. You don't have your career going. No, it's retarded. Setting your daughter up for failure. It's crazy. Telling her what she shouldn't do, but why not suggest to her what she should do? Now I'm the worst of the worst. The world's gonna look at me. I'm a crazy son of a bitch, right? And the Lord knows I shouldn't be giving no kind of child advice, right? But if it was my 14-year-old daughter, I would tell her, look, uh, the world is fucking insane. But what you had to know is that you're valuable. And it's not just me, like, that's not me making it up. Like, oh, I'm her father. I think she's special. And so therefore she's valuable. No, you're fucking valuable. On earth, you're one of the most valuable things on earth. To be a woman, you got a vagina. You could possibly have women and man for that matter. You're gonna have children coming out your vagina. That's a possibility. It's so hard to even comprehend how valuable you are. Okay, and you could, if you would like, go ahead and turn around and use that value. What do I mean? Well, see, you like boys, right? Are you a girl? You like boys? Hey, your best bet is to get married to a boy who's grown up to be a man. You know what you should do? You should get married. How do you do it? Let me lay it out for you. We're going to teach you how to cook meals. We're going to teach you how to clean without being asked to clean. We're going to teach you how to be pleasant in general in public and how to just not be very loud. You brush your hair, you put on your makeup. And if you can keep these, if you, here's what you should do: preserve yourself. That you know what I'm talking about, because the value of that thing, if you preserve it, you're gonna cash in like nobody's business. You're going to get a millionaire husband. I guarantee it. It's not going to be hard. What you should do is get married. You should be planning and figure out how is the best way to find the best possible man to marry you. You get married, he's going to take care of you. You're never going to have to work. one day in your life. If you don't want to, you can do whatever you want. You wouldn't have to worry because you're gonna. It's not hard. Like, this is what you should do. But however, if you were to talk to the normal person around this area, this country, or whatever, they'll tell you, "Oh, that's not right. Why should you want your daughter to be married at 18? Don't you want her to live life? Don't you want her to be free?" I think all y'all are freaking retarded. It ain't nothing about living life. If she wants to live life, she should do it successfully, meaning she should probably get married at 17, 18, start turning out children. And I'm talking about just turning out children left and right until she can't do it no more. I'm talking about a lot of children. She's gonna love it. It's nothing about me being a tough guy. I don't have to like chase off boys because instead of like telling her, "Hey, you can't be around boys," I'll tell her, "Look, you need to be around the right boys. I can take you to the country club or something. Like, we're going to some place, and I'm gonna walk you around where people have money and some damn respect or something. We're gonna find this. I mean, it's not gonna be hard either." And I wouldn't expect people to do it exactly how I'm saying it, but it is just that easy. People don't want the best for their daughters, or they think the best has something to do with going to college and getting a career or something. It has nothing to do with that at all, right? But the reason for this big destruction, end of days type calamity is to shake people out of their absolute, apparently comfortable, unending retardation. I mean, retarded on each and every level. So I suppose that this is what this is all about. All right. So I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. Hopefully, I can figure out some sort of technicals. I know it takes me a million freaking years to do it. I know that's right, but I'm sorry about that. I'll holler at y'all a little bit later.